What do you say to Americans who, I mean, there's two groups of Americans. There's a number of Democrats who say Democrats need to fight harder. They need to not give in. They were very angry at Senator Schumer for agreeing to a continuing resolution a few months ago, one that you said a lot of the members did not agree with. But there's also a large part of the American public, Democrats included, independents, Republicans as well, who look at Congress and see this shutdown battle as just another reason why they can't trust Washington. They can't trust Washington to do anything on behalf of the American public. How do you explain to them that this shutdown is you doing something?
Well, nobody wanted to see this shutdown take place, and unfortunately, Republicans who control the House, the Senate, and the presidency decided that they were going to go it alone, adopt this take-it-or-leave-it approach. And we were very clear for weeks prior to the end of the fiscal year on September 30th that we would not support a partisan Republican spending bill that continued to gut the health care of the American people, but that we would sit down with any of them, anytime, any place, either at the Capitol or back in the Oval Office in order to enact a bipartisan spending agreement to fund the government, but that spending agreement needed to actually improve the quality of life of the American people when anyone who's paying attention knows that things haven't gotten better in America as a result of Trump Republican policies. They're getting worse. Life is getting more expensive. It's becoming harder and harder for working class Americans and middle class Americans to get by, can barely survive, let alone thrive here in this country. We need a course correction. And that's why Democrats continue to stand on principle. We want to reopen the government. We support our federal employees, our hardworking civil servants, but we need partners on the other side of the aisle to even just be willing to sit down and have a discussion. And so far, that hasn't been the case.
Okay. Washington, D.C. Is silence in Capitol again, in the street. The U.S. government has shut down once again, and it is time. And this time, it's not just about politics, drama, and as usual. This time it's about chaos. It's about the struggle of people of the U.S. Republicans are panicking. Democrats are furious, and millions of Americans are like maybe workers from the federal farm, and all the sectors in America are caught in the middle of the shutdown. So this is a story of how political game turned into a national disaster. Brought to you by Kifa Media. Subscribe, share, leave a comment in the comment section. If you are a member here, kindly give me a like on my video. Comment below what are your thoughts about the whole thing that happened in America.
This is day 13 of the Trump Republican shutdown, and House Republicans remain on vacation. These extremists canceled votes for the last 3 weeks. And now earlier today, Speaker Mike Johnson had the nerve to say that Republicans are the party of healthcare. Y'all ain't the party of healthcare. You're the party that continues to destroy the healthcare of the American people. The largest cut to Medicaid in American history. Hospitals, nursing homes, and community-based health centers closing all across America, including in your home state of Louisiana. And now because of Republicans' refusal to extend the Affordable Care Act tax credits, tens of millions of Americans are about to experience dramatically increased healthcare costs, all because of your refusal.
So let's begin by this. On October 1st, 2025, Congress failed to pass a spending bill. Negotiations collapsed and the US government officially ran out of money. So what followed was a complete halt of many government functions, from agriculture payments to airport security check. Republicans in the House, led by hardliners, refused to compromise on a budget that cuts and borders policy demand. Democrats accused them of holding the country hostage. They are like putting the whole country into a bondage of whereby they'll be stuck at some state. Now, in the middle of a million of innocent workers, unpaid, uncertain, and some of them, people are tired of going to work and not being paid by the government. See, and the way anytime you are working somewhere, you need to get paid, because you have bills to pay, house to pay, car to fuel, gas to pay. You have to do your own things. That's why people go to work. And now, when you find that someone is working and you're not getting something from the work, you feel like you are getting tired, exhausted from these all things. So the shutdown backfired first. public anger exploded. Polls showed Americans blaming Republicans for the gridlock. So everybody is blaming public for this whole thing of shutting down the government in the US. Inside the party, panic spread. Moderate Republicans warned that the shutdown could destroy the 2026 election chances. Because tell me how you will be going to somebody, people, talk to them, address them while you are making them suffer in their own country. Because when you are in a country and you are trying to maybe to win the hearts of the people in the country, you have to do them good, to do them well. Give them what they want, not let them suffer. Tell me now today, how will maybe Trump or anybody else campaign for the next election? Because how will you campaign to them while they're hungry, they're jobless, they can't even pay their own houses? You feel me? So it's about the government to see and think more wise than ever, because this whole thing of shutting down the government will destroy them. Now, meanwhile, federal workers began missing paychecks. Farmers couldn't get their relief payment, and small business dependent on government contracts started collapsing, because a small business who is depending on the government will lose your business, because you can't stand by your own, because you are depending on the government.
Actually putting the blame on the Speaker and Leader Thune and the Senate. This should not be happening. And I don't think, look, as a member of Congress, we already have a low enough job approval rating. This shutdown is just going to drive everybody's approval rating that much lower.
But so you're putting the blame on the leadership of your party.
Absolutely. We control the House. We control the Senate. We have the White House.
Oh, Marjorie, how I've missed you. It's been a minute since I've talked about good old MTG. And maybe that reason is because, I don't know, this administration has been such a shit show that I had to put that dingbat on the back burner. Or because in recent months, Marjorie has been making some sense. And I'm not the only one. I've seen the comment sections on videos of her speaking. People being like, I can't believe I agree with Marjorie Taylor Greene, or I'm not agreeing with Marjorie Taylor Greene, she's agreeing with me, or even a broken clock is right twice a day. Now, if you've been with me for a long time, you would know that I have never had a kind word to say about that woman, and I'm not going to start today either. I can only think up of one or two reasons as to why Marjorie Taylor Greene has had a sudden change of heart. It could be that she's up for re-election and she's campaigning as we speak, that her constituents in rural Georgia are suffering under this administration. I wouldn't get too excited about her blaming Mike Johnson. This is not her going against Republicans. She does not like Mike Johnson. I'm going to take you guys a little back. Do you remember Kevin McCarthy? He was kicked out as Speaker of the House and replaced with Mike Johnson, and Marjorie did not like that. She spent a really long time kissing Kevin McCarthy's ass and forming a coalition with him. She even fought with her boo, Matt Gaetz, over it, because he's the one that led the charge. I did say there were two possibilities, though. And the only second one I can come up with is that there was some kind of Freaky Friday situation at the Capitol where Marjorie Taylor Greene and John Fetterman collided, and they just switched places. Crazier things have happened. But before any of you hop on the Marjorie Taylor Greene Express, choo-choo, I need you to remember this woman's entire career and the things that she has done and the disgusting things that have come out of her mouth. She is not having some kind of come to Jesus moment. And I also need you to remember that she was once a part of the alphabet people. You know, the ones brought to you by the letter Q. She's not all there, okay? Consider this a public service announcement. Anyways.
Yeah, I think there are a lot of Republicans out there right now strutting around thinking that they're cock of the walk. But
this is a morning show.
I know.
Come on,
but
keep it clean.
We'll try and keep it clean, but shutdowns just get me so excited. When you look at the data, what you're actually seeing is that more Americans are blaming Republicans than Democrats, which I think really goes against the conventional wisdom, because a lot of folks are saying, hey, Democrats are so divided. But at this particular point, Americans are placing the blame on the Republican shoulders, at least the plurality of them are.
So I have one question and one point to make about this. First of all, I wonder what the process is for Harrington deciding the weird body motioner thing that he's going to do, because there's always one. But anyway, my point is, they are blaming the Republicans because, and this is just a guess, they're in charge of everything. And they, not just in charge, it isn't just that they have the presidency, they have the House, they have the Senate. They literally control everything. They've dominated every city. They've invaded America. The Supreme Court doesn't matter. Norms, precedent, the law, constitution, nothing matters. They control everything. They're big old strong alphas. We control it. Oh my God, I should get a Nobel Prize because I'm such a good negotiator. Oopsie doopsie, I can't keep the government open. Yeah, it makes you look like a doof. It makes you look like a dink. And so people put the blame on you because you guys run everything. If you don't want to be blamed for things, I would love for you to step away from the reins of power and let responsible people take over. But as of right now, the polls are fairly clear, and this is bad news for the Republicans because they are gambling that this is somehow going to work out. That although their polls have been slipping on basically every issue month after month, this is like one chance to make it so the Democrats look like the irresponsible ones, and thus far it's not looking that way. And behind the scenes, supposedly the aides are now stewing in this. They're sensing this political risk, as you can see from the Wall Street Journal, specifically not just about the shutdown, but about the core negotiating point on the shutdown, which is that the Democrats are saying we want to put back the funding that you just cut from Medicaid, which is screwing over millions of your own voters. And we want to continue the subsidies under the ACA that already, I don't know, Brett, if you've seen these, some people are posting the new cost or whatever versus the old, like it's like a 3 or 4 time jump, which again is going to financially wreck a lot of people. And for the Republicans to come out and their only defense to be, yeah, they want to trans everybody.
The so-called fiscal fight became a political side mission. Now, let me begin in Wisconsin, company and lower farmers were waiting for USDA aid, but the offices were closed. In the New York airport, first long delay at TSA. Workers missed because they missed something, missed payment. Federal workers are not being paid in the US today. In Washington, D.C., even the national park went dark. The government shutdown wasn't just headline, it was a daily nightmare for ordinary Americans. Now, and the more people suffered, the more pressure mounted on Republicans to end it. They were asking them just to open again the government of the US because now government is shut. Everything now is on hold. Nothing's moving, nothing's working. After this list of chaos, fear began turning into rebellion inside the Republican Party itself. So they're now fighting themselves. Some lawmakers began secretly negotiating with the Democrats to reopen the government, breaking party lines. Others accused their own speaker of losing control. The political panic reached its peak when business leaders, farmers, unions, and even conservative governors demanded end of the shutdown now as soon as possible because the government, the US government is, whenever the government is shut, everything is on hold, nothing's moving.
Welcome to America, where America first means Qatar gets a military base in America, and it means bailing out Argentina, while military families wait in line at food banks. Where the right has every single branch of the government, but the government shutdown is the fault of the left. Welcome to America, where we need standalone bills. Then the Speaker of the House blocks a Democrat standalone bill to pay troops. Then cancels next week's session. Then goes on TV and says the Democrats put Americans last. Welcome to America, where Trump gets a $400 million jet from Qatar, a $5 billion golf course from him. Jared Kushner got $1.5 billion from him, but the Biden crime family, Hunter's laptop. Who bought Hunter's artwork? Where MAGA continues checking off boxes on the fascism checklist, then gets mad when they're called fascists. Where the people who say they lost their free speech because Facebook removed a meme also says the left exercising their free speech means they hate America. Welcome to America, where the people who call the left violent, terrorists, groomers, demons, baby killers, vermin, the enemy within, also say they are sick and tired of the divisive rhetoric from the left. Where the people who drove around with Biden tied up on their tailgates and edged themselves to the thought of a civil war say the left are inciting violence.
where the left are sheep. But for 4 years, MAGA held rallies in pastures. Where for 4 years, they held Nuremberg rallies to complain about America. But now, if the left holds protests, they are called terrorists who hate America.
The one confident GOP leadership found itself concerned by the people and it claimed to be represent. So, when the government finally restarts, the damage will remain: billions lost, productivity, trust broken, and a Republican Party more divided than ever between the far-right hardliners and the moderates desperate to save the face. So you have to look nice. You have to convince them again to believe in you for the next election, which is so hard for the people who have been suffering this whole matter in your hands. So the question is, can Americans still afford politics over people? Can Americans still really afford politics over their own people, and people are the one who votes for you? Do you think that American will be able to afford politics than people? And how will they convince people to believe in them again? American is collapsing at its very, very last core. So, or let me ask a question. Will the shutdown mark the beginning of a greater collapse of leadership in Washington? I think so. I don't see if there's anybody who will come out and convince people that they are good, they have changed after this or suffering. People have shifted, people have moved from America. People have gone to stay in other countries because they want a better life. There is no life in America anymore. The government may reopen, but the wound will remain. Even if they open the government tomorrow, they will never heal the wounds in people's heart. People who believe in them, people who have suffered all these things. Somebody books a flight, they can't travel to another country, which is a disaster to them. It's destroying the whole country. Families unpaid, farms struggling, confidence shattered. You can't have a big farm of like 10 acres and you can stand and talk about it, about how much has this farm helped you. Let me address the farmers of Arkansas. They can never sell their soybeans to anybody because China moved to buy their food stuff from Brazil and Argentina. So their farms is useless. They don't have any courage to talk to people, to address them, to convince them to buy their own product. They don't have confidence because of the Trump tariffs. What began as a political stunt has become a national scar. This will cost entire country, entire state of America. And as panic spread inside the Republican ranks, on other hands, and as panic spread inside the Republican ranks, one truth stands clear. When politics turns into a pride, it's the people who pays the price. People who believed in Trump, people who went and voted red, are the one who are being hurt, are the one who are being destroyed, are the one who are crying today, are the one who are being pressed down, are the one losing life because they can't afford life. Because you can't compare somebody who is living a normal life to a politician. They have money, they don't care about you. So when the political turns into a pride, it's the people who believed in you, people who had faith in you, that are now paying the price of your own mistake, of their own mistake of choosing you. So anybody who's in America is being hurt because of choosing the wrong side of the coin.
Day 9 of the Trump Republican government shutdown, and House Republicans remain on vacation. They canceled votes last week, they canceled votes this week, and they're ready to cancel votes next week. They're missing in action. Nobody can find these House Republicans. They're in the witness protection program. That's extraordinary. They'd rather shut the government down than address the healthcare crisis that Republicans have created that's impacting tens of millions of people all across the country. Our position remains clear. Cancel the cuts, lower the costs, save healthcare.
I've been a boy. If you find this is Global Tales, subscribe, share, and leave a comment because I'll be bringing more truth-driven report. I don't joke with giving you the news. Subscribe to the next video. Until next time, I'm more than peace be with you.